I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with.
Tank?
We're here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of mankind for their own selfish reasons. How's it going, Tank?
Well, based on the headline, hopefully everybody can see at the moment.
Well, give me a moment. I gotta show. I gotta make sure we're doing that. Yep, it's there. Go ahead, go for it.
Okay. so just so everybody knows, I don't have anything, a current update from Ken right now. So if that's what you're tuned in for, I don't have that for you. But I do want to read this. I think it is groundbreaking, and it certainly speaks to where we're at. Judicial Watch, which is Tom Fitton's group, who's been really, more thorough in his enforcement of the law than any other group. He says, we now have enough evidence to arrest Hillary Clinton. And also, apparently, blood-loading medication. Okay. So, the president of Judicial Watch has released a statement confirming that there's now enough evidence gathered to arrest and imprison Hillary Clinton for mass corruption. The head of the American political watchdog group, Tom Fitton, has confirmed that the amount of information of Clinton's criminal activities that's been obtained is so damning that that's enough to put her behind bars for decades. According to Fitton, the evidence against Hillary Clinton mishandling classified information is overwhelming and should see her arrested imminently. In a video statement, Fitton spoke about Clinton's classified files being found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now that includes, by the way, as a side note, of her actually butchering a little girl. Weiner's wife and Clinton's side, Huma Aberdeen, breached national security protocols by transmitting the top secret data and passwords of her Yahoo email accounts. Tom Fitton referred to Comey's investigation into Hillary Clinton a sham. You got a Russia scandal, you got a Bahrain scandal, you got a China scandal, you got a Nigeria scandal, you still got a Benghazi scandal. Fitton said, this is really horribly written, by the way. Fitton said, we've known for some time the Clinton investigation was a sham and corrupt. The text messages are further proof. Clinton email investigation should be reopened. More than enough evidence, especially on classified info abuse, to arrest Mrs. Clinton now. A former federal prosecutor has recently revealed details of a brazen plot by the Obama administration to exonerate Hillary Clinton and frame the President Donald Trump with a false Russian conspiracy, according to a bombshell statement. Joe DiGenova, an ex-federal prosecutor, has connected the dots on former Obama administration Justice Department and FBI officials to expose instances where they have, quote, violated the law, perhaps committed crimes, to politicize surveillance in law enforcement against political opponents. DiGenova has said in a statement that former FBI Director James Comey conducted a fake criminal investigation of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Whoa. According to DiGenova, they followed none of the regular rules, gave her every break in the book, immunized all kinds of people, allowed the destruction of evidence with no grand jury, no subpoenas, and no search warrants. That's not an investigation. That's a Potemkin village. It's a farce. In a video interview, DiGenova discusses the heroism of NSA Admiral Mike Rogers, who briefed Trump when he was president-elect on November 17, 2016, about the controversial governmental surveillance. This resulted, he says, in Trump's presidential transition being moving out of Trump Tower to Bedminster, New Jersey, until it could be debugged. The litigator also discussed the Uranium One scandal, the tainted Mueller special counsel investigation, and the heroism of Nunes, who is under intense pressure from the United Democrat Front. DiGenova has no doubt that if the Democrats gain control in November, there will be an effort to impeach Trump. The Democrats are trying to delay any efforts by Republicans to find the truth. It's important for the House to complete its work now, he says. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. So, this is something that we've always known. At least it seems like for a very long time. And what's really incredible is that now we know this information, and finally it's coming out where it's like, look, action needs to be taken. You know what? Tom Fitton is a really well-respected guy in all circles, right? He's respected by alternative media, mainstream media, and even in Washington D.C., where it's filled with scoundrels, because he's feared, because he's there, standing in the face of the dragon, taking shots at them. So that is incredible news, man. What do you think?
I think that it's well about time. I was just wondering if there was anything else that was going on there where that it's not that it's going to require them months and months more of time, or is this something that's going to happen like right away? Who's going to take this action? Tom Fitton?
Tom Fitton. I mean, when he says something like that, in my opinion, like, think about it. He runs these. I mean, he's constantly filing lawsuits and just saying, but he never says things like that. He's saying, like, there should be investigation, but he doesn't really go into that kind of a statement where she needs to be arrested now. He's pulled the freedom, like, he's basing this solely on the freedom of information requests that he's filed, right? So based on the data that he himself pulled and is looking at legally, that's what he's basing that on. Because there's plenty of speculation and speculative information, that we know is real, but that's not what Tom Fitton deals with, because he is filing, in the actual courts to get this information.
Yes. Yeah. But he can't get her arrested, right, by filing suits or anything. All he can do is he can push suits against the government for them to act, make a writ of mandamus.
But I can tell you that, based on some information Kim gave me yesterday, we could probably offer Tom Fitton some information to help him do that. So
I did see the this meme you put together against Judge
Duran.
Judge Duran. And it is the appropriate form of shaming that needs to take place, right? Because they've been operating with impunity, right? And no, everyone's afraid to say anything or do anything. But this kind of thing carries, right? So I'm very happy to see that you made that meme, or whoever did. I don't know, but it was pushed out there. It really is effective.
Yeah, Sidori has become like the Instagram master, right? Like, so she's adding like 100 followers a day. And she's constantly just growing, and she's really mastered this. She's really amazing. It's like we have a morning conference call. We have I mentioned an idea. Within 3 hours, she's got 4 different things working to like bring it to life. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that's exciting. And then share this too with what's his name here? So, boom, Rudy Giuliani drops another bomb on Biden family, adds Iraq to ever-expanding list of corrupt dealings. So, I love this. Giuliani's so awesome. Giuliani reminded the D.C. swamp that he previously cleaned up mafia in New York and asked them, "Do you honestly think I'm intimidated?" Hey, Rudy Giuliani, please come back to New York, because the Order of the Black Sun there with Governor Cuomo is still trying to, run New York back to that same thing. So Giuliani presented a letter to Senate Judiciary Chairman Lindsey Graham with evidence of a Democrat criminal conspiracy with Ukrainians to prevent Donald Trump from being president. Rudy Giuliani previously released information on the Biden family and their questionable dealings in Ukraine, China, and Romania. Jeez, that's amazing. 2016, the final year of the Obama administration, Hunter Biden traveled to Romania to meet with a shady real estate tycoon who was accused of orchestrating a corrupt land deal. The Romanian businessman was Gabriel Papadadri, a wealthy real estate tycoon, and Hunter Biden was brought in to be his lawyer, according to a new report by NBC. Here is Rudy's letter to Senate Judiciary Chairman Lindsey Graham, where he also mentions Iraq is yet another country of shady Biden family dealings. That probably has to do with the RV, I would imagine. So just when the communist left thinks they have cornered Rudy, he comes back swinging. If you want the complete picture of Rudy Giuliani's recent actions, take the time to read this letter to the wrote to Lindsey Graham. Well, I'm not going to read that because it's a little too small, but really amazing. So I think that's
well, it's interesting.
Very
also,
exciting.
I heard Rudy on an interview, and he was basically saying that he set up a dead man's switch, right, with a RICO suit against them, so he's not intimidated.
Nah, like come on, and the real power of a dead man's switch, right, is when you tell everybody. Like you set it up, you make sure everything's tight, and then you tell everybody, look, I got this on you, and good for Giuliani. I love that he's doing that, taking it to him.
Oh yeah, he's having a good time. This is the the victory lap, right? It's like it's already done, right? They're cooked. They just don't know it yet. Same with its impeachment. And now it's very obvious, right? It'll be interesting. Let's say that the House decides, well, we're just not even going to hold a vote, right? Let's just say they just decide to just drop it, go off whistling down the lane, and the Senate turns around and say, well, we're going to do the trial anyway. You had a faux impeachment. We're going to have a faux trial, but we're going to bring all of these witnesses out, and we're going to find out what the truth is. How about that?
Right.
I think that no matter which way that the Dems go right now, they've fallen into the trap. It's already sprung, and they're already trapped, and they're just, having convulsions. Their leg is caught in the trap. They're trying to get out.
Yeah.
They're going to gnaw off their limb. And their limb is Adam Schiff. They'll be gnawing him off pretty soon.
Oh, man. So, the Washington Post says that White House review turns on emails showing extensive effort to justify Trump's decision to block Ukraine military. It's like, if the president is blocking it because they're corrupt, is it justification, or I guess that would be, isn't that like appropriate justification if you block it?
Right. Well, there was an interview with Mark Levin, and he was going over one of these ambassadors, and said he clarified with Trump himself, and Trump said definitely that I'm not asking them for anything. I just want them to do the right thing. I don't want to give them money if it's just going to go into other family members' bank accounts. Like who else? Like who else, right? All the Democrats. I'm sure we're going to see that we're going to see it's Kerry, Pelosi, Biden, and Mitt Romney. All of them were paid out of this $7.2 billion. I bet it all went into their accounts. And I think that's what's going to end up being a scene. And there might be a few more, but those four at least.
Unbelievable, they make this accusation, then they don't actually say, they say that there was extensive emails where he, was trying to justify, like, why he was legally right. Now, if you're having a correspondence saying, look, I'm allowed to do this because X, Y, and Z, that's not news, you jack-offs. Like, that's just what you do. Like, you accuse me of something, now I'm explaining why I did it, right? That's normal communication, right? It's not evidence being withheld. That's like, well, this is why I did it, and then you justify it. Now, they make it seem like it's criminal, but it's not. That's what you're supposed to do, you mucks. Like, do something in your life. I swear, like, I can't believe this. This thing is such a, like, it's a comic tragedy. It's like, how are we still talking about these same things? And they just, any little thing they come out and say, act like it's fact. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I think that this we're going to have to set up some ways of counseling people that are coming, through Trump derangement syndrome, and they're experiencing truth. There's going to be some kind of treatment centers set up for these people, because they've been lied to for so long, and they've been on target so long, and they've, even the ones that may have heard things, that closed off their ears and went, no, I don't want to hear any news, any truth, right? No facts, please. Hold the facts, right? But it's going to come down on them, and they're going to have some serious problems. And I don't know. It's probably tens of millions that are going to be in serious mental shutdown.
Well, I don't know if you can see this, but
I see it.
CNN's Brian Stelter host segment branding President Trump a destructive cult leader who is using mind control. Yes. I'm like, you want to talk about the pot calling the kettle black? My gosh, that's hilarious.
Wow, that is hilarious. It's just like, I mean, well, that is the only thing they know how to do. State exactly what they're doing, but put it on the other side. Put it on their competitor. So I mean, that's how blatantly the truth is. Just reverse it and say that's who they are, right? And that's it. You know, so it's amazing.
Think about how brilliant this is, right? So President Trump uses cultural guidance techniques when he first takes office, right? He repeats the term fake news so much it becomes a brand where everybody starts to look at the news and really consider it. And the argument could be, well, cultural guidance or, branding, right, is essentially, it is a mind control technique, right? Mm-hmm. It gets implanted in your mind and you remember it.
Right.
But it's important to realize that you kind of have to use that technique to undo programming, right? Mm-hmm. So if people are all programmed to believe everything they hear on the news, when they start to hear things on the news and they remember fake news, even if they hate it, at least they're questioning what's going on. So it's so funny. It's like, it's the opposite of what he's saying. It's not a cult, it's humanity, right? And humanity is free to make their own decisions, but they first have to have their minds free to be able to do that. They have to realize this is not accurate. And, I do think that because like Nunez and Trump have been filing lawsuits when they come out and they say these things that are defamation of character, right? That it's like, you can't prove these things. And then on top of that, you're speaking so hostile and so negatively about all these different people. Your bias is showing,
yes,
horribly, And so I think it's very interesting to kind of see that accusation come back around. It's like every time they make an accusation, they ought to take the word out, accusation, and replace it with confession. Because that's what they're doing. They're confessing all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, so they're it's just the only playbook that they have. It's like number one rule: whatever you're doing, accuse the other side. So that's the only thing that they're doing. Every single thing is it's exactly the same. But now, since people have been awakened to the point, people are woke for real. That they're going to have, they're able to look at these things and start thinking for themselves, right? Not listening to the repeated talking heads on all the other stations that are saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
we've
well, I think Kamala Harris, she summed it up today in a tweet and says, she says, "I've spent my entire career fighting for justice. The choice between me and this lawless president couldn't be more clear." You're right about the last part of that statement. The choice couldn't be more clear. And her version of justice also includes, journalists being arrested for revealing violent crimes against the entire nation. So I think that pretty much, if that's her version of justice, I mean, she could, take it and, get the hell out. Because, I mean, that's the most ridiculous version of justice I've ever seen in my life. This poor guy from this journalist is now being fined to pay back these murderers guilty of eugenics and genocide, with all types of insider confessions to, acts of taking babies that survive abortions and drowning them, beating them with, medical equipment, just leaving them in a room to die overnight, where they would just walk away as the baby is fighting for its life. If you did that if you knew that was taking place and it was your baby, right? Even if you had an abortion, if these women who had the abortion knew that's what happened, how do you think they would feel? I'll bet you even those women themselves, if there's any ounce of humanity in them, would be devastated and something like that. You can't cover that kind of a thing up from your own conscience. Sorry, it's impossible. So, but, nevertheless, we move on.
Yeah. Hard to move past that. So, because it's so disturbing, to know this is really where the battle leads us. We have the top of this structure are pedivores, and it is the worst possible thing to think about. The other things are all leading up to that. I mean, that's the road. And after that, there is no one. It's genocide. It's everybody's dead. What is this path? Do you think that this is natural? No. It's a plan that's put in place to cause humanity harm by people that don't want us to survive. People's the wrong word, but we'll call them Project Red Beam aliens. They've even whatever ounce of human code DNA that they have has been so distorted throughout time. I was watching something yesterday. Was from SGT reports. They were talking about the follow the bloodlines, but they were really talking about Rh negative blood types, and that these systems that were put in place for this to really kill off people, and through the vaccinations and everything, all lead to everyone dying who's not Rh negative. And that's the ultimate goal. If you're not Rh negative, you're doomed, right? In this scenario, right? So,
wow.
And guess how many they estimate that there are left? How much of the whole planet there might be?
I don't know. 20,000?
Yeah.
Not many.
No. 500 million.
Wow, that's an amazing coincidence.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's as if the Georgia Guidestones are a real decree of what they're going to do to all this.
As if. As if.
Yeah. Maybe we should look at those before it's too late. I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to just go over there, go down, just extract the whole thing, right? Go down 66 feet and get their time capsule and open it up. What do you want to do? You see all the. It's a picture of like all of the cabal members, in a big group hug. I don't know. Yeah, we did it.
I wonder if it's just like all the secret videos of like porn and everything else of like them doing horrible things, so they can be like, wow, we really got away with this. I can't believe nobody dug this up. One thing that I do realize is happening, and I have now kind of crossed over this plane to recognize, and so I appreciate the government standing up and doing something, right? But the actual law of the land in America is the Constitution. Now, according to the Constitution, when the government gets out of control and is lawless, right, where they have ascended above the people, and they no longer are enforcing any kind of laws or guidelines and respecting the rights afforded us by the Constitution, then we have an obligation as residents of this land and this applies to all of us, by the way, not just people, in militias that have guns. This applies to all of us to stand up and take back the government, to remind them that they draw their power from the government and that they don't have any power if we don't give it to them. Now, with that being said, that means that we actually have the authority, being that we have not violated anything from the Constitution and that we are not doing any harm to anyone else. We have the rights and the authority to take back the law and make sure it's enforced. For example, in the case of James Durant, who is this, loser, who's got this fake title in the 16th Circuit as a judge, which he is no more qualified to be a judge than I am qualified to be Miss America, okay? Because clearly his judgment is so flawed, is so useless, is so biased, is so misogynistic and racist that we have a dozen files on him. Parents standing up who've had their kids taken from them and given back to abusive spouses, all types of situations, kids gone missing, kids dead. All this from one judge. How is he continue to allow this to happen? And the reason why is because the people have done nothing to take it back. So everybody out there in Chicago, in that area, I need to know who is solid in the militia. Because if not, I made other arrangements to bring in alternative supports to make sure that this little girl Sasha gets home. Because I am furious that after 3 weeks of being played out publicly in the news, that you can't even get the congressmen or the state senators to do anything because they're so afraid of what is the abomination, right? In the Bible, literally talks about this. It's the abomination of desolation, right? That is what is. That's what Chicago is right now.
I just wonder if they really just renamed Obama, but that's not his real name. But they renamed him this just for this particular purpose, because to make him the abomination.
I agree. And if it's this is literally prophesied about in the Bible. Now it might not be talking about this exact situation, but the abomination of desolation is talking about the evil works of the devil, right?
Right.
And that's exactly what they are. And you could trace this league of the Order of Assassins all the way back to like an ancient group of monks from China. That they were masters in the art of death. And you can see how that would go back to Sun Tzu and how that would go back to Marduk. It's the same exact garbage being played out, right?
So this I talked about Aladdin, right? So we're talking about the Middle East, right? And these assassins, they actually traveled and they went east when they were forced out, when they were chased out. They went east. They went through Iran. They went through China. And they went into India, and they became the Sikhs there, right? So the end of the line for them there were the Sikhs. That was where they came from. That's why all the Sikhs of today even they're supposed to carry a dagger with them at all times.
Yes, I actually had to throw a kid out of a party one time who was about 9 years old at one of my son's birthday parties, who had they were like, they had one of those blow up things, or like to
oh yeah,
like a slide.
Yeah.
And I jump around, and,
I love those
and he
things.
got like kind of buried for a second, right? And he freaked out, and he pulled out his Sikh knife. I was like, dude, you can't do that here. You gotta go.
Did he puncture it?
No, I wasn't worried about puncturing the thing. I was worried about puncturing a kid.
Well, yeah. I'm just wondering. Did he get freaked out by the system, or it was something just he was lost in the balls?
No, it was just a bunch of kids, and we probably had too many kids in there, And he was okay. He wasn't like hurry. He was bigger than all the kids were like 7 years old.
Yeah,
no. Last thing I want.
But this whole we also see that these assassins or the death cults moved. They were also part of the Khazarian region, right? So that they are also again, what were they doing? They were worshiping Baal, right? They had these other this other religion that they morphed into Judaism, right? So
Right.
It's so strange that thinking all this. I mean, most of my life I had really good friends that were Jewish, right? And I could never think like why these people had these bad feelings about Jewish people. Was it all just because they were good with money? That's are they jealous? I wasn't sure. Growing up and seeing looking at racism and saying what's wrong with it? Why are they doing this? I mean, because that you're jealous that they're the chosen people in the Bible. I'm just trying to come up and analyze what it is, but I really didn't understand any of it until it made sense when Thomas was talking about. Well, it wasn't actually Thomas, but he made it clear. But I first heard it from Benjamin Fulford about the Khazarian mafia, and then that's why I started researching it, and then Thomas provided a lot of information about it, and this is it all makes sense. Okay, it's the Khazarian, sadist, sadist, Satan worshippers or Luciferian worshippers that are really what we're talking about. Baal worshippers, Moloch. That this, uh, uh, they just latched on to Judaism, and I mean, I guess they became the chosen ones then. They were chosen to house the wolf, right? They were the sheep's clothing of the wolf.
Yep. Yep. And it's amazing because you hear about the same order of assassins. I mean, like you can pick them up all throughout history, all over the world. Like they were in the Crusades. They were, there's a sect of Chinese monks, which normally we associate like, Eastern monks with like, like the Shaolin and the Wu Tang, things like that, right? Like
Right.
they train in Kung Fu, but Kung Fu is more like a way of life, not
Right.
just of fighting. But the Order of Assassins was like, where you get your ninjas and things like that, right?
Right.
Allegedly, like this,
Right.
like a radical sect of the samurai, and it's like, all that stuff's amazing to me. It's like, wow, like, this is really the same thing, right?
Right.
It's like the ninjas or the like that's exactly what you would look like if you were an assassin for in the Middle East, right? Like covering your face so no one knows who you are. It's the same group that like is traces back to all the Islamic radicals, right? In the even Antifa. I mean, we know that Antifa connects back to the Islamic Brotherhood, back to George Soros, right?
Right.
And it would stand to reason, like the way they saw them is like they're slaves, right? They all worked for the same thing, but they were enemies pitted against each other by Marduk, who ultimately saw this time where they would kill each other off,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have one group controlled by the Rothschilds, which I believe is probably like Blackwater, in like the UN, the NATO military. Then you have the other side who thinks they're going to be in charge, which is Obama, Ilhan Omar, that whole group of the Order of the Assassins, which is the Order of the Black Sun. So it's pretty fascinating, really, when you look at it that way. Terrifying, but
So there was this other information that I came upon, which showed me that Obama's father was really from Indonesia, right? And that they are sun worshippers. Right now, I don't know if it's the black sun, but I know that was one of the main things is they're sun worshippers, and that guy looks exactly like Obama. It's not like I mean you have to like is it Obama or not? You have to really think this looks like Barack Obama to me, but it was really this cult leader, and
wow.
The one of the other members of that cult actually moved to Hawaii and became the county registrar, for that was over the birth certificates for Obama.
Coincidence?
No,
I think not.
I think not.
No.
So this why this whole thing about Kenya, I don't you know I don't quite believe it. I think it seems more like it's this Indonesian leader, but and even when I was in with Swiss Indo in Laos, and they gave stories about Obama coming to them and asking for accounts, right? And he was turned down. And he said that it said that he's not black, he's Indonesian. And I said, oh, okay. That was like the first place I heard it. It's like, and I could see it. Yeah, okay, yeah, it looks Indonesian.
Yeah, I mean, Obama was definitely nominated. He was the Pindar at some point, right? So that was the highest level ranking position there for a long time. But he failed, right? He was supposed to bring in the Islamic Brotherhood. Well, when you realize this is all the same order, right? It's all one group being controlled at the very top. Well, the Rothschilds, they were bringing in the New World Order at the same time, right?
Right.
And the conclusion I made previously was that they're all one. I mean, it was the same agenda, but in reality, it's not one agenda.
Right.
Right? You have a transfer of power going over to the east. Right? The Islamic Brotherhood is like the easiest group to portray as like, an evil villain, really because they're constantly hiding their faces, right? And they say things that are very radical and unapologetically as well. I mean, they talk about like hunting down, every Jew on the planet and allowing the Christians to convert to Islam.
But of course, in the same topic, every Jew would also mean the Khazarian Jews, right? The Zionists, right? So now you have the New World Order Zionist crowd against the Black Sun Eastern group,
right? So it's like, it's all the same thing, And the whole idea of the Order of the Black Sun, like, there's reports of these, in Antarctica, like when they discovered like this big door, and on the door was this big, black sun, and everything was like made of like this appearing like black onyx material as you walk down this hall, and like there's like soldiers reports of this who like actually there, and all of that though is just fabricated, kind of galactic lore, right? Like it's not even real the way it's portrayed, right? It's all something that Anu and them they put in place, as beings, as galactic beings here, right? With different abilities that have been around for a long time, and they wanted to be worshipped as gods, right?
Right.
So they created this whole process for them to be, and it applies both ways. You realize like everything in the Bible goes the same way, right? You have Anu, which would be like, what is replaced in the Bible. And so anytime they say the Lord, right, you have like Lord, God, and Jesus Christ, right? So Jesus ends up being like Marduk, right, the Son of God, right? And then Anu is like the Lord in the Bible, And like, it doesn't mean there's not truth in the Bible, by the way. What it means, and there's not valuable things in the Bible, what it means is the subservience, the fear, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is Ephesians 4:1. And in Ephesians 4:1, the way it reads is something like this. It's like the first part says, and because I feared Yahweh, or no, because I was made a prisoner unto the Lord, right? Now that's not what Source is doing, right? Source is not making you a prisoner. He's giving you the spark of life to be free, to be a creator, right? But so he replaces that part of it, right? The part where like, because I am conscious and aware of the power of the spirit that's in me, right? That's what it should say. But instead it says, because I was made a prisoner. So, but look how much it changes the meaning. I'm doing this because I'm a prisoner, or I'm doing this because I know who I am. Now, in the knowledge of, all of our power is in the knowledge of our power, right? So the next part says, I will walk worthy, I will walk worthy of the vocation for which I have been called. And I think about that all the time, right? And I know people are down on Kanye West, but right now, I was thinking about this guy. Like I appreciate Kanye right now because
Yes, me too. I think we just lost Tank. But yeah, I've been. I knew nothing of Kanye. I had no idea who he was. I never heard his stuff. Nothing. The first time I actually knew anything about him was when the controversy started with Trump, right? And that's really. I mean, have I heard? I heard the name maybe, but I couldn't. I would never be able to pick him up, say, hey, that's Kanye, or know any of his music. So I may have heard his music. I just had no idea who he was. But yeah, I see that he's gone through a major transformation, right? And is moving beyond where he was, to now look at being on the positive side, not on the negative side. Are you back, Tank?
yeah, sorry about that. I'm not
Sorry.
sure I got cut off, but what I was saying is that I love that idea, that principle, because we wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. No, you
Yeah.
got cut off after you said you love what Kanye's doing, and then you got cut off. I said yeah, and I like him too now. I had no idea who he was before. I really didn't.
No, I did. I used to, because I'm a hip hop fan. So, but but I love what he's saying now. He's like, God does not call the qualified; He qualifies the call, right? And you know, all the time there's people with every advantage in the world, the path in front of them is laid out, and they do nothing for the most part except conform to the standard that's already been set, which has really been pathetically low when you think about it. But what's impressive to me is when people are born with nothing and they find a way to rise up and do something that is really worth remembering, right? And really has an impact on humanity
Right.
that changes the world. And that really, for the most part, when those things have happened, they've swept in, the other side of the order, this ancient order, right, of Black Sun or assassins or Rothschild, whatever, and they've rewritten history and taken credit for it, and that's unfortunate, and I think the responsibility really falls on us now as the people to make sure that our voice is not erased in history, that our voice and the words that we use and the way we use them and the way we take action and the way we come together, it actually demonstrates the power of the human soul.
Nope. It does demonstrate the power. I lost Tank again. So we'll just keep going. Well, I would say that it's what's memorable for me will be always Kanye appearing in the White House. That's really the first time I actually even took notice of him. So for me, that will be memorable. So throughout life, if that's what it, for me, how he has a memory, it just shows that there's more people like me that he's touched from saying yes, this is a positive sign of things and how things are progressing in this world. So we're on the right path. There's all these signs. Look, and we see this swamp being drained, and Kanye's there, in the White House and participating in draining the swamp. He's got his own path, but it's going to line up with what Trump is doing, right? On what he's draining the swamp, and he's going to be draining it out of Hollywood. He'll be part of that crowd that's draining it.
Yeah, I think Hollywood's going to be there's not going to be a Hollywood anymore in California. There'll be something new. I think that my personal preference is to set up in Detroit and to bring Detroit back and revitalize Detroit in a way that's never been done.
Yeah.
Detroit's got all these massive empty airplane hangars, right? All these old car companies, all these things there, just empty space, man. Just Just wait. You could take that and turn it into whole cities and make it look like whatever you wanted for any movie you wanted. I actually have people in Detroit ready to do that. Man, I've got such a brolic team in Detroit. I've got best team in the world. I mean, they're ready to go. As far as one city goes, I got to bring people into New York. In Detroit, I got people there. They're ready to go because Detroit's gone through a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Well, I think we may see car companies coming back, but they might not go to Detroit. But I think we're going to see more manufacturing. I think we're going to be manufacturing everything here, and what we're going to see, and one of the things that I see as a major, let's just say, battlegrounds, but I think it's a natural progression of doing something where you're doing things for the abundance-minded way of thinking, that it becomes about higher quality of product, right? Products and services get higher quality. That would mean also, Hollywood or movies and videos would have, much better, not just quality, but the messaging is going to be about life, right? It's not going to be about that, it's, it's, there's another, I just saw that, there's a new Batwoman, so a new series. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. I'll put that on." So I watched it, and so it turns out, oh, all right, well, she's a lesbian, first thing, and she's very butch, and so now that's what you have to be a superhero. And I go, I'm tired of this messaging, right? It's I have nothing against gay people, but I don't want there to be an effort to turn everybody gay.
I agree. Yeah,
and
meaning that humanity depends on it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately the end of the line there, and it just reminds me of this a friend of mine in Vegas who's gay, and he referred to me disparagingly as a breeder, like it was a bad thing. Yeah. So this kind of messaging, just ultimately results in the elimination of human beings from the planet. No procreation means we're gone. And in fact, one of these other numbers that came up. It's like Japan is in such a critical state. If they don't start having 5 children, they're within 2 generations they might be gone as a race.
Wow.
Right? They need to step it up.
Get a wife for anybody out there. Probably a good time to be.
Well. Well, I think Japanese guys, should I'm don't think there's anything wrong with mixing the races up, but they need to protect what's unique about their particular race.
I agree. I totally agree. Nothing wrong with that. Like, I have no problem with people being proud to be Japanese. My lawyer, Paul, is actually Japanese, and he's Japanese in America.
Tell him to get busy.
And he does have some kids, but
okay.
But what's so interesting about Paul is he grew up, kind of post World War II, where there's still residual shame. When you see him, right, Paul looks almost like he's like a Native American, right, and because he kind of he was telling me I'm just being a kid, he really was ashamed, right, not ashamed, but he really hid that he was Japanese, so he did business under a totally different name, right, he took his father's name, of course, right, but now he's at an age where he's more confident in who he is, so he took his mother's name as Yokoyama.
I just found out that well, not just, but about 6 months ago, I found out that my grandson and granddaughter are 25% Japanese.
It's awesome.
Yeah, because we didn't know that my son-in-law was half Japanese. He didn't know. He took a DNA test. Right?
And he's half Japanese.
And he's half Japanese.
That's a pretty big thing to miss, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, he never had a father around, right? And it was like questioning his mother. Is like, well, didn't you remember a Japanese guy?
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like you would know, right?
Yeah, and she said, oh well, there was that one guy.
That's funny.
So, but we couldn't figure out. Everyone assumed he was half Mexican. Really.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
He's very chunky guy, stocky kind of guy. He doesn't, but he didn't quite look like that. But everyone kind of, okay, you're in Southern California. Okay, label, boom. Yeah, but
wow, yeah.
But turns out half Japanese.
That's great.
So my daughter is half Indian, and half me, and I'm half German and Irish on both sides, and Cherokee on my mother's side. So my grandchildren are quite the mutts.
You know what? I'm claiming this from now on is, and this is true. I am Indigenous American, period. I'm nothing else. Everything else, all the combination of races and things that really.
Well, would you like to would you like to join my indigenous tribe, Entente?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Entente.
Entente. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna make my own tribe. We'll see. But I like Entente. It sounds pretty cool.
Well, actually it's been the original word that it comes from is entente. So like it means to come together in agreement.
Ah, right. I've actually heard that, I think.
Well, like détente, you might have heard of.
Yeah.
So entente is another form. So it means agreement, to come together in agreement. So, but we kind of added a little spin to it and made it entente, with a with a hyphen, right? Not hyphen, but
I like it, man.
Accent. Yes.
I will claim the Entente.
Okay. Our traditional lands are that of Deseret. Do you know?
Okay.
Do you know Deseret?
No. Oh no, I don't.
So
it's gonna be funny though.
Well, it's serious though, but it is the land that the Mormons claimed as their country, because this was actually a land, their land grants that they brought all together encompassed this whole area, which went all the ways from Los Angeles to Texas and up into Canada. Very huge area. So literally, Utah was, to become a state, had to give up Deseret.
Wow. So interesting.
But one of our members of Entente, it was her family that had the original title to the land, or the grant deed from the King of Spain.
Wow.
And she brought that in under, or their family brought that in under Deseret for the Mormons. So that's where that came from. Of course, a lot of my other members are Mormons, so
yeah,
that's how we had brought this together. But yeah,
I think I'm gonna do it the way Prince did it, and I'm just gonna have a symbol. It's just gonna be, it'll never be spoken. It'll just.
Hi, this is the beginning of Frontlines. I'm Dan Lutz, and this is
symbol. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Just flash the sign.
Yeah.
And then I
Now
say,
you know.
"So how's it going?" And then
yeah.
it's really
It don't work.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. You really need something.
You need something, yeah. Because otherwise, we're going to say, the co-host formerly known as Tank.
Yeah, formerly known. That's what we'll go with. Formerly known as Tank. Now currently known as the Symbol.
The currently known as Symbol. Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, yeah, man. So everything's exciting. That's all I got, though. I'm pretty good. I feel like everything's coming together, man.
Yeah.
I really expect us to be in a much more powerful position here at any moment. I think it's all happening in divine timing, as people love to quote.
Yeah.
And so I'm embracing that.
Well, some of the things that we're discussing before we came on the air, I think that's really tells that we're closer. This type of structuring needs to get done, right? And so we need to proceed on that, because that is one of those steps that has to be in place, right? You take these steps forward, and then things fill in around. Reality happens. Well, that's a good bumper sticker.
Reality happens, yeah.
Instead of the S word.
Yeah.
Reality happens, yeah.
And I think we go with, I've been thinking about this for a long time, is that reality is, our reality, anyways, that we're creating, is, that's what we're going into, right? The real world order. Not the new world order, the real world order.
I like that. Real world order. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We did it.
You got it. All right, man.
All right.
That's all I got. You have a great night, everybody. Peace out from New York. Thanks for watching.
All right.
I appreciate you as always.
I appreciate you too, Tank. And thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.